welcome. Happy podcast day, Falcon Paladin.
Thank you, sir. It is good to be here for another day of podcasting.
Yeah, it's good to be back. We had a little vacation last week where I was dead sick and didn't want to be coughing and hacking and sneezing on street. Speaking of sneezing, just to put it in how gross it was, because I was sick, I was home from work and I was playing away to Oblivion. Um, and I had to sneeze. I had a huge sneeze come out of nowhere, and I didn't have time to get my hands up to my face to cover my mouth. But I did not want to spray my monitors or my keyboard, so I turned my head and tucked it into my shoulder.
Hmm.
Missed because about 20 minutes later I was looking at a display cabinet I have over there with all my Warhammer minis, and there was a huge booger snot slime slowly dripping down the front of the entire thing. It was gross. Absolutely nobody needs me to stream while I'm that sick. So we took a week off. Um,
Yes, we did. And that's why we have front doors on our display cases, then, yes.
yeah, it's true.
Hmm.
Yep. Protect all the unpainted minis I've got inside of it.
Correct. Important. They
Uh,
stay booger free.
there's a couple of
Indeed.
painted ones. There's a couple of painted ones.
I saw you post a painted one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty, so how have you been?
Well, I got sick. My kid brought home some kind of weird sore throat, something going on
Mm,
last week.
mm-hmm.
I was feeling better
Okay.
on Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday,
Mm.
and then I woke up on Sunday and I was like, "Bleh." So it was back. Something, it wasn't the same thing though, it was different. So yeah, I basically had two illnesses separated by a day of being healthy in the last 10 days. So it's been great.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a little bit gross, but hopefully by tomorrow I'll be 100%. So that's very fun. Yes.
Well, fingers crossed.
Quite.
Mm-hmm.
Kids need to stop bringing diseases back from school.
Just stop sending them.
And yeah, I need one of those super secure science lab things where you walk in and it sprays you down with disinfectant, and then you step into the
Yeah.
hazmat suit and you go in.
You want to operate your house like a clean room?
I do. That's what I need.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
I think that would be hilarious and would definitely solve some of the problem. Do you ever think it's
Yeah.
just if you had absolutely no contact with germs and diseases, that eventually it would weaken your immune system overall, and then at some point you're gonna go out and get something and just die instead of being a little sniffly for a couple days?
I don't know. I think your resistance to disease is built up when you're a kid
It
and
doesn't
a
last.
young adult.
It doesn't last forever though. It's continuously
Well,
being rebuilt.
hmm. Citation required?
Well, okay. Um, House. I've watched a lot of House.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
Okay. No, no, no. Serious answer. Serious answer. Did you know you can't get the cold from the same person twice? Because every time you get it,
I'm
it
going to say
mutates.
citation required again.
No, no, this one's a true story.
Okay.
True story, bro. It has dragons. No. Okay, look. I mean, I'll Google later if you want. But this is something that I learned at some point: is that you can't get it from the same person twice, because every time a person has it, it mutates. So if I give it to you,
Yeah.
you can't get you can't give that cold back to me, and I can't give that cold back to you. I can get another
Yeah.
cold,
And I understand. Yeah.
but every time, that's because your immune system works out how to fight that one. It grows, it
Yeah.
learns, it remembers. If you don't get colds again, what's your immune system learning? If you
Yeah, but the
live it.
point is the colds are mutating so much it doesn't matter. I'm immune to 8,000 different kinds of colds, and guess what? There's a new one this year because it's mutating consistently.
Right, but your body knows how to fight them because you're getting 8,000. You're immune to 8,000 of them. Your
You
body
no
knows
no
how.
no no
That's what
no
that's what an
no.
immune system is. It's learned how to fight colds.
Old versions of colds do not stick around. There are not
Mm,
40 billion varieties of cold floating around Earth right now because every single one that's ever been is still here.
no, no, it doesn't have to be all of them. It has to just be like the last 10. Your immune system knows and remembers some amount of uh, diseases that you've collected.
No, I don't think so. I think it's herd immunity at that point. I think enough people get the cold, develop immunity for it, that it dies out, and then the next one shows up. So
Okay, so
that's it.
The Google autocomplete is, does your immune system know about your eyes? Uh,
That feels like a deeper question than I was going for. What? What is up?
okay,
What?
okay,
Now I
okay,
have more questions.
okay. Hold
Okay, okay,
on.
okay, okay.
Does your immune system weaken with age? Right, because you're getting
Sure.
older.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Yeah. It does.
the resilience built in at youth uh,
Aha. Aha.
depletes around age 50. Um,
Yep. There you
hmm,
go. Thank
hmm.
you.
I still don't
It's
think I'm right.
important for children to like play around in dirt and be exposed to other kids. If you
Hmm.
put a child in a clean room for the first 10 years of their life, they are fucked. You take them out of that thing and they're going to die. But if as a kid you're exposed to diseases and colds and flus and you get vaccine shots and you're playing in the dirt and you're drinking dirty water sometimes, then yes, you're pretty much good to go at that point.
Hmm.
Aha.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Additionally, I saw a study that said if you expose your like infant kids to peanut butter,
Yeah.
to peanuts, then it actually reduces their risk of being allergic to
Peanuts.
peanuts
Oh, okay.
in their life.
That's
Again,
good.
early exposure to stuff for the human body when it's young is like, okay, I get this now. Good. We're good to go. We can handle it. And
Hmm.
if you don't expose your body to anything when you're a baby or a toddler or an infant, it really screws you up.
Hmm.
So all those parents that are like constantly disinfecting everything all the time and not letting other kids play outside and like disinfecting the vegetables and stuff, like you're really screwing your kids over.
Hmm.
That's not the way to raise your kid. It's not going to be a happy time for them when they're an adult. There you go. Parenting from Falcon.
Uh, I'd like
I
to,
think I got most of this from my mom, and she was a registered nurse for like 40 years, so she knows
yeah,
what
but
she's
she was
talking
a
about.
registered nurse in the 40s, right? Like you were born in the 60s, so it
In
doesn't
the
count.
40s, the 2040s.
No, I'm just saying, science changes. Um,
It does. It does.
it does.
Anywho, enough about illness. We got to move on to more important things.
We do. We do.
Unless you have more illness. Do you have more illness?
Do I have more illness?
I mean, do you want to talk about like general health more? Do you want to go back to that thing where the immune system doesn't know about your eyes?
Do you want me to go finish that that Google complete?
I'm just curious. Like, what's the idea
All right,
here?
all
Why is
right.
this a question?
Let me see what Google says.
Okay.
The eye is one of the few areas of the bodies with immune privilege. I don't
Okay.
know why people are googling this. If the immune system mistakenly identifies the eyes as a foreign object and attacks them, it can lead to autoimmune diseases.
Yes, I get that.
Right, look, I don't know why it's an autocomplete,
Okay.
um, but it's there. People are worried about their immune system attacking their eyes. So,
I don't know. But like why are they not worried about their immune system attacking their kidney? Like
well,
again, every
I,
body part you have could have that happen to you.
yes, but I feel like your eyes are like your most. I don't know.
So they're worried about everything, but their eyes would be the worst example of this
Yeah,
happening, is what
like
you're saying.
if you had to
Hmm.
pick something to lose, like you've got a spare
Uh-huh.
kidney, you wouldn't want to lose both your eyes though.
But
Me,
like your heart, that seems pretty bad.
yeah, we've got artificial ones now, right? We don't.
I think they've done eye transplants. Can they not do eye transplants? They do like
Ooh, I don't know.
I think they do like at
Transplants.
least partial eye transplants.
Like you can do a cornea, can't you? Um,
Yeah. Corneal transplant. I feel like I've
yeah.
heard that phrase more than once.
Dismiss. Can a blind person get an eye transplant to see? 70,000 people in the US donate their eyes after death, yet the only part of the eye, most commonly the front surface or cornea, are able to be used for
Okay,
transplantation.
so if you lose your eyes, you're toast.
Yes, but
Yeah.
uh, depending on the damage, some people can donate their eyes when they die, and you can have that repaired. Corneal damage, basically. Uh, but not the entire eye. Um,
Mm-hmm. Maybe one day.
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Science is working on it, I'm sure.
Oh, I have no doubt. Did you hear about the guy? I remember there being at least one guy, but I'm sure there was more than one, who had a cable stuck into his brain and then a little camera that would like lead from his head, and he could see out of the camera. It
Ooh,
was
fancy.
only in black and white and it was very small resolution, but the company that operated it went out of business, so he was like stuck with it, and if it breaks, he just can't see anymore.
No one picked up the tech. No one
No.
was like, "Hey, this seems promising." They're like, "Nah, this sucks. We can do better."
Yeah, apparently it's I don't know, maybe people just looked at it and said, well, we could sell glasses or we could cure blind people. I don't know.
Hmm.
There's probably a reason
Hmm.
why. Maybe it's because the tech was
Hmm.
dangerous, and they're like, well, we don't want to have this guy as a liability because he'll sue. You know. Uh,
Ooh, maybe. I'm not
yeah.
a big fan of the like, we don't cure cancer because if we cure cancer, we can't sell cancer treatments. It's like I don't know about that.
I
I
mean,
don't know if that's happening
you don't think that's happening with something? Because
with something, sure,
because
but I
like
don't know with cancer. Because like, if you come up with a cure for cancer, you're done. You make $800 billion, and you've won capitalism. Good job. Like,
no, because
no,
they're like insulin, right? Essentially, if we just gave away insulin, you could say we've cured diabetes. You haven't, but you've cured its
no,
like
that's
it's
not cure. That's
it's
managing the symptoms of diabetes.
it same difference when it would kill someone or
No,
otherwise, right? Like
no. I'm
pe-
talking about a cure. I'm talking about you give someone a shot, their cancer is gone, donezo, finish. No chance of getting cancer. Your
I,
current cancer is out there,
okay.
done.
Okay. No, I'm not necessarily talking about like do we have a magic pill kill a pill or a shot that cures diabetes. What I'm saying is we can treat diabetes for very very little, but there will be people who charge 1,000 times what it costs to make simply because they can. If these are the people who had a cure for cancer and could also treat cancer, do we trust those people to make that decision where it's like, well, we'll make $8 billion curing cancer from everyone on the planet, and then what?
Then we have $8 billion.
Right, but you could have $8 billion a year treating it. Then you have 18, 16, 32, 64. How is that not more desirable to them?
I don't know. I mean, we've cured polio with vaccination. We've cured,
Polio's still around. It's coming back because people don't
yeah,
trust
but
vaccines.
only if you don't take the cure to it. Like, I imagine if there's a cure for cancer, if you don't take the cure to cancer, you can get cancer.
Right. Well, I mean,
Your pedantry is really bad today. I
some
am
some.
crushing you.
No, I don't think you are. Some people can't have the cure for polio, which is why we need other people to have it. So blaming them for getting polio when they didn't take the cure isn't always going to work.
Mm. Yeah, exceptions do exist. Outliers within the statistical reality in which we live always exist. That is correct. I will acknowledge that. It doesn't prove anything wrong, though.
I don't. I don't understand your point there.
Me saying that, look, me saying if you don't take the cure to cancer, you're gonna get cancer, and you saying, well, some people, there's outliers to everything. It's like, yeah, there's outliers to every argument, every single argument anyone can possibly
I,
make.
I still don't
There
think you
are
win.
outliers. It doesn't disprove anything.
I don't think it proves that you win capitalism by curing cancer. Right? You
Well,
only
that's a different argument.
you only make $8 billion if the people can afford to pay whatever your treatment is. If you make the cure for cancer, I mean, the South Park did this with the cure for HIV, where Magic Johnson cures HIV by grounding up $100 million and injecting it.
Right.
You can't win capitalism if people can't afford the treatment. Like, there's too much real gunk in human life for that to be how it works. You don't just
Okay,
get to
sure. So,
you just don't just get to win capitalism.
okay. Just eventually. Just saying the
Oh,
price will
oh,
probably be pretty
eventually.
high, and I'm just saying the price is pretty high eventually. Right. Initially is the
Yeah.
word I'm trying to say there.
What about like
Right. Like with
tuberculosis? Cured
what
it, but
about
there's
tuberculosis?
still millions of people with it. Like how
Yeah.
did curing tuberculosis not be the winning capitalism of its time?
I don't know. I guess maybe because tuberculosis isn't. How common is it compared to cancer? I guess.
Um, 1.25 million people died from TB in 2013. Um,
Okay.
in 2013, an estimated 10 million people had it, which is interesting. You know, I learned recently that tuberculosis used to have a different name. It used to be
Uh-huh.
called consumption.
Right. Because I
Yeah,
didn't know what it was.
and
Yeah.
so because it was a wasting disease, but it was a
Yep.
very popular disease to have. Like, oh, all the poets and the literary people have consumption. It was like a popular, sexy disease to have apparently, back in like the 1600s.
Well, because it's a kind of dramatic way to die, right? You didn't get run over by a
Right,
horse.
but it was thought to
You
be like
st-
the thinkers and the intellectual man's disease kind of thing.
yeah. I wonder why. Like regular people weren't getting it? I imagine they were.
I don't know. It's just when you write novels, and apparently people look aside from it.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. So what do we got here? AI overview says there are 20 million new cancer cases in 2022. So every year there are 20 million new cancer cases.
Hmm. So that's twice as many people with tuberculosis.
Well, that's no, that's not total. Those new cases. That's
Yeah,
not total
in
cases.
2013, an estimated 10 million people fell ill with TB. That's
Ah,
that means new cases.
so that's new cases as well. It's just too complicated.
Hmm.
How did we get here again?
You suggested that curing a disease would make you win capitalism, and we can cure tuberculosis, but people have not won capitalism. Uh, I think Aki is talking about Ozempic. Um,
Ozempic.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's a good one.
Mm.
Anyway, um I think I've lost interest in this. You win. Congratulations.
I'm not
All
looking to.
right.
I don't want to win
Omicron was right.
capitalism. Where's my?
I didn't say the win capitalism. I said you win the argument. Well done.
I didn't want to win the argument.
Uh yes.
That's not how that works.
Pay for a 5 or a tenner.
Oh man, I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts, and it came every now and then. It throws you a live stream, and
Yeah.
I got this woman, complaining that some of her subs were like not subs, because subs is like a Twitch term. Some of the viewers, she was having to have her mods ban them on YouTube because they were donating the wrong amounts, and she's like, I don't care about anything less than less than 10. So if you come at me with those
Oh.
broke, if all of you broke ass people come in here donating $5 and answering a question, I'm going to ban you. And I was like, oh my god,
Brutal.
how awful
Brutal,
are you?
brutal. Pretty awful.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that was fun.
wow.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, that is not fun.
yep.
Like, I don't know. That's interesting because, like, you're like, oh, she's so well off. She doesn't care about $5. But, I mean, from everything I've heard about people that are like millionaires and billionaires, like, they don't turn anything down. Like,
Uh-huh.
they'll take that dollar, you know?
Right.
So that's weird for her to have that mentality. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she wants to only have very rich people donate to her, because if you can afford the $10, you can probably afford the $20 as well,
Maybe, theoretically.
theoretically.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm. All right. Moving on.
moving on.
Andor?
Yeah, you can talk about Andor if you want. I have not seen it, as I do not have a
That is
Disney Plus
fine.
subscription.
I will talk about Andor for a minute.
Go for it.
It's back! Hooray! Andor is back. I'm very excited that it's back. It's been gone for a while. It's here again. And it's just nice, without spoiling too much, to have complicated characters that feel like real people. It's wonderful. I just feel like a lot of the characters in Star Wars are just kind of broad stereotypes and archetypes. And it's like, well, Anakin has a darkness in him, and he fell to the dark side, and that's Anakin. It's like, oh, okay, but like, is he more complicated than that? It's like, not really. He's Darth Vader now, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a broad oversimplification, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Just broadly overly simplifying it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I mean, Anakin's probably one of the more complicated characters in like the history of Star Wars, to be fair. And even
Right.
he's not exactly super complex.
He's not like what it is straightforward, but it's not simplistic. Like you can't just say he's got an evil in him and that's why he does evil things, right? He's very much filled with like this self-loathing from having killed a bunch of like kids and women and children, right? Like he is recognizing of that. And that he did it in an attempt to save the woman he loved because he believed she was dying, and that he could find power, but that way lay madness instead, right? It's simple, it's straightforward, but it's not. I think you can be very dismissive if you just say simple. You know, straightforward and simple don't necessarily mean the same things, but one of them can be derogatory. I think. But a lot of characters are
Ah.
very straightforward and simple. Some of them are, and you can have a Darth Vader that is simple and straightforward. Like in, I would say Rogue One, he doesn't exactly have a lot of chance to explore the character. He's simple, he's straightforward, and he's scary, and it's effective, right? Like that's when you
Yep.
need it to be simple and straightforward. That can be a strength. Um,
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, notice I didn't say all the characters in or all the Star Wars are bad.
no,
I just said that they are not super complex most of the time.
right, but you were praising Andor for being complex characters, which implies the rest is shit for not being.
Ah. Didn't
That
okay. Didn't
that's how
really
I took that.
That's fair. I mean, it's a scale, right? It's not either good or bad. It's not a binary.
mm.
It's just there are, that scene with Darth Vader wrecking people in Rogue One. Great scene. Not
Hmm.
complex character. He's just rage personified. It's fantastic.
Right.
Luke destroying the Death Star. Not a complicated character. Just a kid from backwater Tatooine. Right?
Hmm.
Right
Is
then, he gets
it,
more complicated
we're
later.
talking about New Hope, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not Return of the Jedi.
Nope, 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 nope.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah. He's just a good old boy.
Yeah,
Found himself mixed
great
up in a
scene.
war. Yep.
Fantastic scene, right?
Yep.
I like it. Good
Mhm.
character.
Mhm. Has to learn to
Anyway,
trust
but
his
in Andor,
instincts.
it's
Yep.
just like it's just nice to be able to look at a character and be like, I have suspicions there's more going on here than they are saying or that the show is telling me is going on,
Okay.
right? I don't know that happens very much in other Star Wars properties.
Hmm. Are we talking just like narrative complexity? Like you don't look at another character and go, "Boy, I'd like to know where they've been or what they've been doing." Because like
No. No, I'm
you,
talking about feeling like looking at a character who is saying certain things and acting a certain way, but certain body language and certain ways they look at other characters makes you feel like there might be something else going on that they're hiding.
mm,
Like the basic example of this is like the Emperor, right? He's hiding that he's Emperor Palpatine. But I mean, also not really, you know.
okay, you're talking. I mean, he never really hides that he's the emperor once he's the emperor. He just like wears a hood because he's covered in scars he gave himself. But like you mean like when he was just a senator and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
Anakin, we'll look. We'll continue to look in on your career with great interest. Wait, wait, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
That bit
and the
serious.
problem right, but the problem is that we understand who he
Is
is
already. Yeah.
because this is a prequel series. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that screwed that whole thing up. If George Lucas had done the story in order,
Mm-hmm.
then he wouldn't have felt the need to wink at us about who Palpatine is. Palpatine
Right.
would have been a regular guy, and I think it would have been a lot more interesting as a character
It might have been.
for us to be like start suspecting that like something else is going on with this dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would have been, I think, more interesting than what we got, where it's like it's Palpatine. Oh, okay, yeah, like yes, we know who this guy is.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of just what I'm talking about here. It's
Mm-hmm.
good. And what I like too is that there's a storyline. Like most of the first 3 episodes with Cassian, the main character of the show, is spent in what I think is a giant waste of time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
He shows up intending to drop off a ship
Oh,
that he
that's
stole
interesting.
from the Empire.
Yeah.
Right? to get to the rebellion so they can study it and like figure out all its secrets. The guy he's supposed to drop it off to is not there, and there's a group of also people that are part of the rebellion hanging out.
Mm.
But he shows up in effectively a TIE fighter, wearing a TIE fighter flight suit, an Empire flight suit, and they think he's in part of the Empire.
Right.
So they capture him, and it is every time we see Cassian for 3 straight episodes, he's a prisoner of these guys. And they're arguing with each other because their leader went off and left them and didn't leave anybody in charge and didn't come back.
Mm.
So they're just infighting with each other the whole time. And I'm like, okay, this is going to progress, right? We come back, still infighting, still mad at each other. Cassian's still in handcuffs. And I'm like, can we? And then at the end, Cassian escapes and gets away. And I'm like, so this didn't have to be everything Cassian does for the first 3 episodes, right? And here's the thing. I trust that there is something interesting, something later on about this group of rebels and possibly just their leader that they introduced us to, hung a lampshade on it, said, hey, remember this? And then later we go back to it. I'm trusting that's going to happen. It's going to make sense retroactively and be important retroactively. Whereas I think in other Star Wars properties, I'm just like, well, that's a horribly boring storyline. Why do we waste so much time on that? That's my attitude about this right now. And I could be entirely wrong.
Mm-hmm. They go 20. Oh, no, okay. I was like 24 episodes, so that's impressive. But it's not. It's 12, and it's counting the 12 from season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, because it does sound to me entirely like they were like, okay, we have the story worked out, but we don't have anything for Cassian to do for a little while. Let's just have him be a prisoner for a bit.
See, and if that's all it is, I'm going to be pissed. Because that's shitty writing. That is low quality garbage writing. That they didn't have any of that in season 1. So if they're doing that in season 2, okay. I'll acknowledge it. I'll allow it. But I would like to believe right now that's not what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. Deal.
Like, I mean, I'll take your word for it. I feel like
it's not my word. Well, my word for it that in season 1 there wasn't any of that. Is that what you're pushing back on?
No, that it's strictly poor quality writing to have a character who needs to be held somewhere for a period of time.
Don't spend time with him then. Be like, hey, he's in a hole somewhere. And then come back when he's ready to leave and then have him leave. If that's all you're doing, great. But don't give us... Like, they're constantly going back to Cassian. They do, 4 other scenes elsewhere, back to Cassian. 2 more scenes elsewhere, back to Cassian. 2 more scenes elsewhere, back to Cassian. It's like, okay.
And he doesn't
do anything.
Change?
Nope, he's handcuffed. Sometimes he's drinking water out of a bowl like a dog. His captors are continuing to fight with each other nonstop all the time. They have no agreement on what they should do. They're trying to figure out if they can leave the planet on the ship that Cassian came in, but they don't trust him enough to fly it. And they never resolve anything. They never get to the point where they're like, here's what we're going to do.
These people are explicitly rebels, yeah?
Yes. They hate the Empire. They're fighting against the Empire. They're...
rebels with a small
Cassian doesn't recognize them. They don't recognize him.
Obviously.
It does emphasize the fact that the rebellion's kind of a giant mess right now.
It sounds like that might be what they're doing. They're just setting up that the rebels are disorganized. Even the ones that were slightly organized are probably suffering from infighting and inefficiencies at a command level. People who are just taking off for whatever reasons, poor communication. It sounds like world building.
Sure.
But it's world building in a series based on 12 movies with 1,000 other TV shows. I don't know. I feel like what the rebellion is supposed to be is maybe already established a little bit for Star Wars. And taking a moment here to be like, well, actually, they just took prisoners and made him live like a dog and then fought about it. It's maybe pretty poor. Maybe it'll pay off. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the one thing again I'm hinging on is they keep referring to their leader,
Mm-hmm.
who apparently was all that was keeping these guys from killing each other. Because as soon as she was gone, they're like murdering each other.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just wondering if she shows up at some point later, because they mentioned her like 4 or 5 times, and I'm just
Okay.
not sure anybody else matters.
Sure.
Plus, at the end of it, they're still abandoned on this planet with no way of getting off, and there are giant carnivorous beasts running around in this forest, and it's already picked off a couple of them. So I imagine they'll survive maybe another day before they're all dead. And at that point, no story relevance for those guys, I'm pretty sure.
So you did
I can't
mention,
imagine Cassian's going to send someone back to save them after how they treated him.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's a rebel. They're supposed to be the good guys. Um,
Hmm.
you did mention that like Palpatine gets all these wink, wink, nudge, nudge because we know that it's a prequel. But it just reminded me that Andor is a prequel. Like
Mm-hmm.
this character, we know where Cassian dies, and it's not here.
Yes. And that is a problem the show has. There are certain characters where we're like, we know where Mon Mothma is later.
Uh
She
huh.
can't possibly be in any danger or die here. I guess she could be in danger. She
Danger.
just can't die.
Die. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, what a
Yeah.
plot twist that would be if in fact we find out that Mon Mothra is like a hologram and they've been impersonating her for morale, and it's like she actually died here.
She died like 3 years before the Battle of Yavin, and they've
Yeah.
just been hologramming her the whole time.
Yeah. We've had a little AI version of her brain. They put her in a robot. Oh my god, she's a android. They put her brain in a robot, and C-3PO has been pulling the strings the entire time. It's very
That would be that would be so cool.
Who's the guy? Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, kind of a plot twist. You know?
Except a lot more viable, I think.
You don't think Jar Jar Binks could be a Sith Lord?
No.
Oh,
It's funny, but no.
it's funny, but no.
Yeah, funny, but no.
Funny, but no.
Anyway, and okay, the other thing about Andor, the first 3 episodes, is that he lost another person in his life who was important to him. So, what I'm like, to death. So, what I'm wondering here, he didn't just like break
No,
up with him.
I,
It was death.
I was trying to wonder who was important to this character, because
Ah.
I mostly remember Cassian from Rogue One, and there's not a whole lot important to him there.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. Is that
Uh-huh.
by the time we get to the Cassian in Rogue One, he has to kind of be alone
Mm-hmm.
and not really have any friends.
Uh-huh.
And he has friends in Andor, so that doesn't bode well for any of those characters.
He's a friend. He has a friend in Rogue One. He then
He
shoots him.
makes a friend.
No, he has a friend. He shoots him at this beginning.
Oh, well, it's an informant, not quite a friend, but he does shoot him. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So we have to basically get Cassian from Maurice at the start of Andor to the Cassian at the start of Rogue One, which is a different person.
yeah.
So we have to put him through the ringer. We have to change him in certain ways, and that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So another one of his friends died in the first 3 episodes of this season.
Okay, so it sounds like
Makes sense.
it's character building or character just breaking down. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's
So-
progression.
So you have to show it. It might be annoying to see him do nothing as a slave, but you have to keep coming back to it. Be like, look, he's still here, because otherwise it's not going to be impactful when you go, well, he was in servitude and lived like a dog, but you only saw it twice. Couldn't have been for that long. Showing it repeatedly gives it. Well, like it's just
It wasn't that long. It was like 2 days. Like, it doesn't need to be this thing that ground him down and took his humanity away because it was months and months and years.
Oh, did he break out at
It-
the end? Is he already free?
Yes,
Oh, okay, so it was 2 days.
it was 2 days. So, yeah, they could have
Okay.
shown us it twice. It's like, oh no, he got captured. Oh no. Like, they're not listening to him. They're infighting the whole time. They talk about the leader. He sneaks off and escapes. It's 2 scenes in this stupid forest clearing instead of 10, and then I feel better about it.
Okay.
That's where I'm coming from.
Sure. Yeah, you probably have a point.
That's all.
Yep.
So that's it with Cassian. If you remember anything from season 1 with Mon Mothma and her daughter, the one that she's marrying off at like 14, right?
Honestly, no.
Okay. So basically, they're doing an arranged marriage, which, if I understand the story correctly, they're doing this for some kind of a dowry to help fund the rebellion.
Oh, I
Like
do
Mon
remember that.
Mothma's,
Yeah.
yeah. So Mon Mothma's like, we need money to keep this organization going. We're running out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we have this whole cultural child bride arranged marriage system
Uh-huh.
that's kind of fallen out of favor over the last couple decades, but it's still here. You can marry off your daughter for money if you want. And she's like,
Huh.
all right.
It, it has to be an awful lot of money to fund a rebellion.
It does have to be an awful lot of money. I agree. But I don't know
Uh,
how much.
yeah, I
You
could
know,
like. Have they showed any amount of money? Have they given like it'll be 1,000 credits or like 20 death sticks?
they probably did in season 1, but I don't remember how much it was.
Okay.
Because you're right, it has to be enough for this to be worth it. If it
Wasn't
funds the
there
rebellion for a weekend, she's not like, let's do this.
wasn't there a heist in season 1 where they like robbed a bank?
Yes.
What happened to all that money?
I don't know. Good question. They got away with it, right? Nemec dies,
Yeah.
but I think they got away with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what
Maybe
happened with
it's a
all that.
collective effort, right? I don't
Right.
know.
I just it's I think what they're trying to do there is the morally ambiguous good guys, where it's like, look at what they'll do just to get their cause to continue, right? Like, um, I think like they have not balanced the questionable morality of arranged marriages versus the amount of money that they make in order to fund a thing. I think I'm thinking of Far Cry 4, where it's like, well, you can go and burn all the opiate fields, or you can claim them for your rebellion, right? Because you need
Right.
money. And it's like, that's
Right.
something like that is perfectly balanced because it's highly questionably ambiguous whether or not having opiate fields is a good thing. Obviously, we need morphine for our hospitals. Like, opiates aren't just disappearing from the world if we get rid of heroin. Um, so
True.
there are legitimate uses for this stuff, but at the same time, what they're suggesting is not a legitimate use case, but it is a lot of money, and you need to fund your rebellion somehow.
Right.
So I think they could be doing that better. I haven't even seen the show, and I think they could be doing it better.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's this great interaction, a couple different interactions between Mon Mothma and her daughter,
Yeah.
where effectively her daughter's super into this idea. She's like, awesome. Getting married is the best, and I get to wear a wedding dress and I get to be special for a day, and this is what I want to do.
Uh huh.
And so they're like at the wedding festivities. Like it's this 3-day thing, right? So day 1, somebody comes to Mon and is like, your daughter's off crying somewhere. She ran away. You might want to check in on that. And she's like, oh boy. So she goes and he checks on her and she is just sobbing. And Mon's like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And she's like, he won't hold my hand. Like she's hanging out with her little 14-year-old fiance, and I keep trying to hold his hand and he won't hold it. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like that is the terrible thing. You're marrying this guy in like 2 days and he doesn't seem that into you. Hooray. So she comforts her daughter here, right?
Uh huh.
And then the next day is the wedding. And so they're in like the I don't know, the getting ready room, right?
Sure.
And Mon goes, okay, I'm going to tell you something my mother should have told me when I got married. She was blitzed out of her mind drunk, and I kind of hate her for that, and she didn't give me any good advice. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't have to do this today. If you don't feel like doing this, it's fine. We can walk away from it, reschedule it for a couple months from now, whenever you want to do it. If you never want to do it, that's okay. It's like this heartfelt, like, I wish my mom had given me this option. I'm giving you this option now.
good advice, but having friends who recently got married and knowing how much their wedding costs,
Uh-huh.
just know if you want to do it a little bit sooner than that. For the
Uh-huh.
real world, people.
There are some financial concerns, yes. It's
especially
true.
especially when you're selling your daughter to fund your rebellion, not losing half of the dowry on throwing another 3-day wedding. Was it a destination wedding as well? Did they have to travel?
No, it's just, well, I don't know where they are. Maybe?
I mean,
I
they were on
mean,
Coruscant
it's their
before.
home world. Right, she works on Coruscant, but they're from Calistan or whatever. So it
Okay.
was on the home world. It
Oh
wasn't on
yeah.
Coruscant.
So they did
Yeah.
have to travel.
Yes. Yes, yes. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that, yes, correct. It would be a big problem, but technically possible. You can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, her daughter looks at her and goes, I wish you were drunk right now. And, like, leaves. And I'm like,
What?
right? Right? And she goes out and she gets married and whatever. And I'm like, it'd be one thing. This might just be a teenagers are hormonal and irrational as hell. I certainly was when I was 14, right? It could just be one of
Sure.
those
Yeah.
things, right? It would just make more sense narratively if we didn't have the scene in between where
Mm,
she's like, I don't know if my fiance likes me,
hmm.
right? If that doesn't happen and all we've ever seen is that she's super into this idea and mom's like, you don't have to do this. And she's like, fuck off, mom. I want to do this. I get it. I get it at that point,
Right.
right? But they gave us this little thing
Uh-huh.
where there is a chink in the armor. There is something else going on here. And then, no, not at all when it comes right down to it.
Yeah. Um.
So I don't know. I just don't know. We'll have to ask some teenage girls. It's like, does this make sense to you? And if they're like, yes, it does. Like, all right,
I mean,
done.
you have a
Human
teenage
behavior.
daughter. Do you want to just sit down and
Hmm.
watch Andor with her?
She's 12. Maybe I will. Maybe when she's 13,
Ooh.
I'll sit down and watch it with her and then see if she has
Sit,
any thoughts on that scene.
sit down, watch Andor with her, and then float the idea of an arranged marriage. See how well it goes. Let's get the science on this.
Good times. And it's pretty much all I want to cover, I
All right.
think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, glad it's back. A lot of setup. There are a few scenes where things happen, but it's a lot of setup
Okay.
for the first 3 episodes.
Well,
Which I think they did a lot of in season 1 as well.
yeah, I mean, it's the first 3 episodes of 12. You gotta put
Yeah.
the setup at the beginning, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You do.
Well, fair enough.
But then there's John Wick, where there is barely any setup, and you just kind of go. So
Well, there is
not
setup,
everything
and
is John Wick.
there is
There
setup.
is,
It's at the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah. And then
but
they
it's
go.
not a full third of the movie.
Ooh, how long is John Wick?
Fourth of the movie?
Like real. What? How do I real name? I want runtime. 1 hour and 41 minutes. So that's 100 minutes. So basically, you're suggesting that less than 25 minutes is John getting his dog beat up.
Well, no, getting his dog killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less than 25 minutes?
Okay, so let's see. John Wick opens with John Wick's at home. He has the dog. He gets gas. He gets harassed by the dudes. Tells them off.
Mm-hmm.
They follow him home, kill his dog, beat him up, and leave.
Yeah.
That's when the movie starts.
Okay, I found a complete version on YouTube. He is
Okay.
digging
Okay.
up the guns
Yeah,
and the
that's
money at
Yeah.
24 minutes.
Oh, there we go.
So he has
Okay.
already fought the guys in his place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
but he gets
And there's
beat
the
up.
great scene where is that the scene where the cop shows up?
Yeah, this would be after that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that would be just after this because he gets the gold coins out of the floor safe or whatever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
And then the police are at the door?
no, because after that, okay, there's the scene
Where's
where
the cop?
okay, so a second round of bad guys comes to his house. So there's the first lot where they steal his
Yeah.
car and kill his dog. Then he digs up the stuff, takes a shower, and the mechanic calls the crime bosses and like, "I hit your son." He's like, "Why'd you hit my son?" And he's like, "Cause he killed John Wick's dog." And then he goes like, "Oh," and hangs up. And he sends a hit team to John Wick, and that's at 30 minutes. And so the cop turns up and he's like, "Oh, you redecorating or something?"
No, he says, "You working again, John?"
Yeah, that's at
Which
like
is a
30 minutes.
great
So
line.
just
Yeah.
over a quarter. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Never mind. John Wick takes longer to get going than I thought. I guess the sequels don't really care about
No,
build up. Sequels
no.
just hit the ground running from that point.
I
Yeah.
definitely 3 because it like takes off directly from 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Chronologically, like no time has passed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fair. All right,
Okay.
that's Andor.
That's Andor.
Orc time.
Did we want to mention StarCraft?
Um.
Because I don't think we've mentioned that there's going to be a GSL or that there's
Oh.
going to be a is it DreamHack or Dallas or something?
DreamHack. Yep.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that either of those are confirmed. We were
That is true.
I was definitely awfully pessimistic.
Absolutely. Everybody was. I
Yeah,
think.
but we've got
Yep.
some. It's coming back.
Hmm.
StarCraft's not dead.
No, getting GSL back is excellent on its own.
Mm-hmm. 2 seasons
DreamHack's going
this
to be a
year.
lot of fun. That's always a super fun one. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do games start?
They did GSL, they did qualifiers. They
Fires,
sent me
yeah.
an email with the replays.
Group A is in 1 week and 1 day. So that's
Sounds good. Not too far away.
it's trucking. It's coming. Playoffs are in 2 weeks, 3 days. So it'll be quick seasons. Um, let's
Sounds
see.
good. I'm down.
Yeah, who won qualifiers? Trigger, Nightmare, Hero, Junior, Solar, Beyond, Classic, Hero's in here twice.
What?
Oh, I'm just reading different round winners. Okay. Beyond,
Ah.
Junior, Classic, Hero, Rogue, Trigger, SOS, and Nightmare. SOS making it through.
Hey, way to go, SOS. We believe.
We believe.
Sort
Unlike
of.
that filthy Canadian Laughing Games who said SOS coming back was a terrible idea. Just
Yeah,
you
he
wait
didn't
and
believe.
see. He did not believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bad
Mm-mm.
person, that Canadian.
He is.
Yep.
Canadians often are.
Yep. All hopped up on
Mm-hmm.
maple syrup and Tim Hortons.
Mm-hmm. Timmy's.
Tamaras. Yeah, okay, so they're back. I'm happy. You can clip that if you want, Aki. uh, yeah, GSL's back. It's not got a ton of money behind it, although it's here. I'm happy.
Yeah,
It's not
that's all
dead.
that matters.
That's what
Nope.
I will take it at this point. I believe it was announced that Blizzard's going to be partnering with Nexon to produce another StarCraft game. The makers of terrible, shitty mobile microtransaction labeled games.
We get the Diablo treatment then. That's good.
Yeah, well, we get the Diablo treatment.
Worse than the Diablo
because
treatment.
it's not even first party.
Ugh, you're right. That's worse.
Oh,
Gross.
gross. All right, I think that's it for StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, all the jokes that StarCraft 3 is going to be a mobile game are really rapidly coming true at this point, so that's nice. Good to see our dreams becoming reality.
All right.
Warhammer.
Warhammer. Ooh, what did we read,
Yay.
Falcon? What did we read?
We read Warboss by Mike something.
Mike Brooks.
Mike Wazowski. No, Mike Brooks.
Mike Brooks, who also recently had an idea about how you should say Blood for the Blood God.
Was that his idea?
Yeah, there was a
Oh,
screenshot of his tweet.
I don't usually see who posted the tweet. I usually just read the tweet and move on. I probably should read who's posting the tweet more often.
Attribution is important, Falcon Paladin.
No, I just like the ideas. I don't care where they come from.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because that's a great idea.
Uh, yes, we read Warboss by Mike Brooks. It's an orc book.
It's an orc book. I haven't
We
read an orc book before.
Yeah. So this is your first
Yeah.
time with orcs from orcs perspective. What did you think?
Yes. Super fun. And very funny, too. Like, the way the book is written, excellent. Lots of good humor in there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing to start off, I just love the idea that towards the end, there's an orc trying to rally the other orcs around him. Because they're all, like, itching to go fight. There's a battle off in the distance, and they're like, we'd like to go fight there, please. That's what we like to do. And
Right.
he's like, there's something better than a fight. And it's the author's like, orcs' brains aren't really programmed to understand there's anything better than fighting. So they were very confused. And he's like, a bigger fight. And it's like, they get that.
That they understand.
If there's anything better than a fight, it's a bigger fight. I thought that it kind of encapsulated the orcs' experience in a nutshell. I thought that was very good.
That is the orc experience in a nutshell. They love a scrap.
Yeah.
The only thing they love a scrap
Mhm.
is a bigger scrap. So we do get to see orcs as they are broken down into clans.
Yeah.
So we
Is
have
it
the
clans or subspecies? Because, like,
clans. Well, they're all orc.
even, like,
Well,
like
if we're
grots
talking,
or orcs?
well, from the human perspective, they're all orcs, but those are different subspecies. But like the blood axes and the speed bosses, like the evil sons,
Yeah. I
those,
get that.
those are clans.
Right.
Squids, grots, and orcs are all technically three different species.
Species.
Yeah,
Not subspecies. Species.
yeah, I would say so. I don't think the
Okay, I'm
taxonomical
asking.
implications
I'm
matter.
I'm not pushing back. I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think grots ever grow up to be orcs. Like I don't think that happens.
Right. But, like, I'm just wondering if grots are, like, developmentally extraordinarily challenged orcs, right?
Okay,
Like,
so
an orc is born and he's just small, and you're a grot now. Screw you. You know what I
they're
mean?
technically a smaller subspecies of orc. So they're
Okay.
not just stunted orcs.
They're not small orcs. They are different from orcs.
They are different. They look an awful lot like small orcs, though.
Yes. They're still green.
Yeah, still green, still bipedal. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because the grots, I think, well, at least the grot that we get the perspective of for the most part, Snaggy Littletooth,
Little tooth. Yeah.
he seems to think that orcs are all dumb. He seems to think that they're all mentally challenged. They're just bigger and stronger, so they're in charge. And a couple times he runs into an orc who's like thinking, and it freaks him out. He's like, wait a second, my worldview is being shattered right now.
Yeah, kind of.
Because that happens sometimes. Yeah.
I do like Snaggy Littletooth and his perspective on Gork and Mork. It's like he was certain the gods were talking to him, but he was also certain it didn't matter unless he could talk louder than the orcs around him. Like they're all in agreement that their gods are real and they talk to people, but it doesn't matter if you can speak louder than the person who's talking to the gods.
Right.
It's a very fun.
Yeah,
concept.
nobody's gonna listen to a freaking grot if Gork and Mork are speaking through them. It doesn't make any it doesn't matter. Like they might even believe it's happening, but they don't give a shit. Like it's a grot. Yeah. Well, then the question is, are Gork and Mork speaking to this grot? To Littletooth? What do we think? Somicron from a reader's perspective.
Ooh, Gork and Mork are talking to Snaggy Littletooth. I don't think we have any reason to disbelieve Snaggy Littletooth when he's like we're getting it from his perspective. He's very certain that they are speaking to him.
Could he be hearing voices? Could it be a mental illness?
Well, I mean, the atheist in me says it. That's semantics.
No,
But
I'm just not even from an atheist perspective. I'm just saying from a world perspective, from a world building
I
perspective.
don't know that orcs and grots can have mental illnesses. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think their biology is that complicated to allow them to have stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, sure. Is it probably possible? Sure.
Okay.
I don't think it is. I think it's pretty certain that orcs get to talk to their gods because their gods are special because they're orc gods.
Okay, but here the counter evidence here would be
Would be what?
that Grodd is pretty convinced that Gork and Mork want him to be the new war boss.
Yep. It's yeah. It
How
why
does
can't,
that go for him?
well, he does mention that that Gork and Mork often want him to get involved and to do a scrap but they're used to dealing with orcs and he's a grot. So he's obviously not as capable as like they expect him to be, and he understands that. Uh, it is now look, you've come at it from the point of he's a grot, maybe he's just hallucinating and hearing voices, right?
Uh-huh.
What if Gork and Mork think they're talking to an orc?
Okay. Okay. If that's a possibility, then sure, I'm on board. That makes a lot of sense to me.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot more fun. That they don't know that that their prophet is not an
Is
orc.
not an orc and not
Yeah,
at all capable of doing the things
that they want
that
him
they
to do.
want him to do. Okay. All right, all right. I'm on board. That's what's going on here then.
Yeah,
I like it. It's funny that way.
that is so
Yeah.
funny.
I like how they have the cast of characters and they like all the grots are just like Skrok is a grot, Guffink grot, Cuffink grot, Lunk grot. Like they don't have any titles or
No,
responsibilities. They're
it's
just grots.
Big Boss Mag Deadfist and his,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
warband. It's nah, this is just Grot.
Grot. So
So,
good.
so okay, we should touch on like the story, I guess, a little.
A
Snaggy Little Tooth
little.
gets into a fight with someone about
Well,
whether or
but
not
bigger
he.
picture though, right?
Okay, you want to go bigger picture?
Do you want to go bigger picture?
Sure, sure, sure.
It's not
Orcs
complicated.
have invaded the fortress world of Aranua.
There you
Um,
go.
this is a human world, and they have defeated all but one hive city left, um, which has big walls. It's a fortress world, so there's Imperial Guard stationed here. Very militarized society. Uh, big walls, big guns. Can't get in very easy. Um, but that's a good thing to the orcs because they like a scrap, and that sounds like a scrap.
If it's too easy, it's like emotionally unfulfilling. Like it
It
is
is.
not a good time for them. It needs to be hard, and the harder it is, the better it
The
is.
better it is.
Like a couple times that gets them in a lot of trouble, but it's just how they're wired. The bigger the scrap, the better. And if it gets them killed, well,
Eh,
eh,
it
died
happens.
doing what I loved.
God.
Yeah.
So there are several like just tiny little touchstones where it's like there's an orc who's worried about being reincarnated, but he's like, "Well, I don't remember being anyone else, so I guess it's fine." Right?
Yeah.
Um,
The
we get.
logic.
I mean, I know we were talking about the story, but like orcs also believe in universal basic income, right? They trade teeth for things, right? There's like
Yeah.
you can go to a mech boy and have him build you a car for teeth, because orcs grow their teeth back, so you can just take someone else's or pull your own out. It's UBI.
It's UBI with social stratification to an almost egregious extent, but
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
totally.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
also inflation proof because the teeth decay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Genius.
this book does open with a quote from a Magos biologist who believes orc to be the most logical species. And he is summarily like what is it when like a priest is defrocked?
Yeah.
excommunicated.
Yeah.
That's what happens to this guy, and he gets called like the Magos Maleficent or something, like the evil Mago. Oh, anyway,
Declared Biologus
Diabolus,
Diabolicus and
dia,
declared a heretic
yeah,
in M38.
yep,
Yep, that's what it says.
yep.
So good.
So good. Okay, so that's kind of the big picture about the humans. Um, the big picture on the
Well,
orcs
so
is what?
yeah, so the planet's ravaged. They're all pulled back to this one central location. It's the last holdout of humanity on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, orcs are going to take their time figuring out the best way to get in by having a party.
Yep.
The orc known as Gore Snapper, which is a great name, um,
He's the
starts
snake
building
bitten.
starts building fires and having a party.
Right
Dur-
outside the walls. Yep.
Went outside the walls, during which Snaggy Littletooth gets into a fight in a garden. Like that's where he works. That's where his job is. He does stuff in the garden,
In the head.
polishing. Not in the head because he would fall with the head.
Oh,
Um,
you're right. The
yeah.
neck, then.
Well,
Maybe.
have you seen what a gargant looks like?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna find you a photo real quickly.
Okay.
Um, let's go 40k gargant. Where is it for sale? That's an Age of Sigma gargant. I don't want that.
The heck is the Age of Sigma?
It's Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh.
So it was like a dude. It's just like a person. Why would you show me a photo for a listing that's not available? I hate the internet sometimes. Just give me the photo. All right. Copy image. There you go. That's a gargant. It's basically an orc titan.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with a big belly gun and some other weapons and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's it there. I did not fix that scene. Yeah, so he in this fight reaches for a lever or like a bar, and pulls on it, causing the head of this gargant to drop off and crush the warboss.
Yep.
So imagine you're the warboss of a planet of a warg, like not even just like a clan of orcs. He's got several clans under him.
Yep.
He's leading
Like
a
a
warg.
group of orcs capable of conquering a planet. You're a pretty big war boss. Yeah.
Yep, you're a big warboss.
Right. Yep.
And then your own gargant's head crushes you.
Which I don't know that he knows that happened. Like,
No.
not at all.
No, he doesn't. He's just a very soggy smear on the ground. He does not know
Yeah.
what happened. What is the name of the weird boy? Because I don't have it listed here. I don't have the. I can't pull up the order.
list. I have the list.
Yeah.
It's Old Morgrub. Warphead,
Old-
Weird Boy, Snakebite. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this weird boy who is a warphead, which means they've sucked on a lot of warp, says that the next war boss will be whoever can find an old gateway underneath the Imperial City. Which I guess big picture. How long did it take you to figure out that they were talking about Eldar?
But an Eldar gate?
Yeah. About a webway gate.
I don't think. Yeah, Webway. I don't think I got there.
No,
I think I got
okay.
there until Eldari started coming out of it, basically.
Okay, because they refer to the Eldari as skinnies because they're very skinny.
Scrawnies.
Yeah, scrawnies. They refer to Necrons as tin heads. And do you know who the Beakies are?
Oh.
Because the general has a beaky gun.
Yeah, Space Marines.
Yeah, Space Marines, because they all have these long conical beaky helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that were very popular in like the 38th millennium, right? Because they were just like the
Mm.
best they had around. So orcs call Space Marines beakies. Um,
Yep.
I think that's
And
fun.
it is fun, and they recognize them as extremely dangerous foes. And yeah, like you're proud of taking one down
Yeah.
by yourself, especially.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
There's
So
a great line in here, just back to where the original Warboss dies.
okay, go for
The opening to chapter 4 just goes, Gazarot Gorsnappa was given every opportunity to prove that he wasn't dead. Because, like, the
it.
orcs aren't immediately like, the boss is dead. They're like, so
No,
he
maybe
might be alive under there.
he
Let's
might.
give it a minute.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, well, he might bust out from a pile of wreckage, smoking and screaming, and he might be fine. We'll just give it a second.
Yeah, he might emerge from the wreckage angry but largely unharmed, and an unquestionable sign of the favor of Gorken Mork.
Orc logic is really good. It's like, okay, he just got
Really good.
crushed, but let's give it a second.
Yeah.
There are other books where orcs die, but they get their head cut off and put onto the body of another orc, and now they're
Yeah.
like a bigger orc, and now they're just alive again.
Yeah, no, they talk about if you lose a limb, you just go ask for a new one and
Mm-hmm.
you'll be fine. Like
Yep.
orcs are hardy creatures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very hardy.
Is there an origin for orcs in Warhammer?
Oh,
They're just
absolutely.
always around.
Nope.
Okay.
Would you like the forbidden law?
I mean, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the old ones got petitioned by the Necrons for eternal life, and they were like, "No, fuck you, Necrons. Enjoy your lives of cancer and dying."
Right.
Um, the Necrons said, "Well, that kind of sucks," and they discovered the Catan, and the Catan were like, "Hey, if you let us eat some of your stars, we'll give you eternal life." And they're like, "That sounds like a sweet deal," and that sucked all their souls out of them and put them in metal tin robots.
Right. Yes,
And
I'm
that's the
familiar with the Necron origin story.
Yep. So
Okay.
that's the war on heaven. It's the Catan and the Necrons versus the old ones, and the old ones kind of just go around creating other species. They created the Eldar to fight the Necrons. They created the
Ah.
Orcs to fight the Necrons.
Ah.
Well,
Okay.
technically they created the Krork. The Krork, think of them as bigger than Orcs and
Mm-hmm.
like human smart. Capable of like real science and like understanding and strategy, but not thinking it's you know wussy blood axe stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Thinking man's orc stuff. That
yeah.
is
So
embarrassing.
these orcs
Right.
wore like real Crocs wore real power armor and stuff like that. Like they were a serious threat after the Siege of Terra and like just after like I think all the Primarchs ago. The biggest orc war ever makes its way all the way to Terra. It was led by the Beast, and the Beast was like a croc that somehow survived.
Oh, wow.
Like, and they got like a war moon. Like, and imagine the Death Star. They put the Death Star in Terra's orbit, and we're
Uh-huh.
like, hey, we're gonna send orcs to Terra to accept Terra's surrender.
Ah. Okay. Good grief.
So, crocs are a big problem, but they're mostly gone now. And that's
Hmm.
orcs just like devolved into fighting, and because like they reproduce so quickly from fungus, like you get copy loss very quickly,
Yeah.
and they lose a lot of
Yep.
that stuff very quickly. So they
Yeah.
devolve into orcs. Yeah, that's the origin of
Okay.
orcs.
So they're Krogans. Mass Effect stole orcs from Warhammer
Kind
and made legally distinct orcs and called them Krogans.
kind of. Krogans don't grow out of fungus.
Well, no, but they were developed in a lab to fight something else, and
No,
all they know is war.
that's not. Nope.
Were they
Kro-
uplifted?
yeah, Krogan were like a natural species, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they were uplifted by like giving them guns and weapons beyond like what they were ready for, and then they were like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, sure, you guys can have nukes, sure," and they destroyed their own planet. Right? Don't know who thought that was a good idea. Um,
People really afraid of the
Rachni,
Ragni?
the Rachni,
Rachni.
spider
Yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, Very
Okay, so
similar.
it's not a not a direct copy, but
No, no. I mean, Krogan
very
don't.
similar.
I don't think Krogan get bigger when they fight other people or other Krogans. Like that's
True,
not how
true.
they. I don't know. Maybe it's been a while. Um,
No, I
yeah.
don't think they do.
No.
Because otherwise, what's his face would be ginormous by Mass Effect 3,
Yeah, it's true. Um,
the
Krogan
main
also
one.
the genophage, like they still reproduce. It's just rough for them. I think orcs are technically asexual. Like they're fungus. They just kind of leave spores around and they grow out of
There
the
are
dirt.
many differences, but there are some similarities.
Right. I just
Okay.
I feel like if you do that for everything in Mass Effect, it's like okay, well, the humans have guns and the orcs have guns. They're legally distinct versions of the same kind of gun. You know, it's like, well, is it a
No,
bolter
I
or
don't
is it an
know.
exploding grenade launcher? Like, is it is it a machine gun or is it a heavy stubber? I'm just saying. I'm just saying that you can draw that line in the sand 1,000 different ways. Everything's derivative, Falcon. That's my point. Everything.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just noting that your explanation of where orcs come from
Uh huh.
and how they exist feels kind of Krogan to me. That's all. But not nearly close enough to satisfy Somicron.
I'm trying. Like, what are the similar? Like, what do you think the similarities are? Paint them out for me. Convince me. Explain like I'm five.
They were, again, like I said, effectively created in different ways to fight an existential threat by somebody else. And
Sure.
then
Okay. Okay. Okay.
grew
Okay.
independently aggressive, started conquering everything.
So, the reason why I think this sticks less into me is because the old ones also made the Eldari, and the Eldari, while they didn't grow independently aggressive, they did become aggressive enough to conquer the galaxy. And the old ones
Hmm.
made humans as well, who did become aggressive, looking at the Imperium as it is now. You could say that the Krogan are also like the humans or the Eldari, but they're definitely not like the humans or the Eldari.
Right. And the other thing is that Krogans exist essentially for war and conquest and battle, just like the orcs do.
But so do the humans. Humans love war in
No.
40k.
Are there orc poets? Orc sculptors? Orc
Possibly.
musicians?
Certainly possible. They have orc stylists who create
What do you
wigs.
what do you mean possibly?
It, orcs are very. I don't know. What's the way
I
to.
feel like if an orc started like, I'm gonna do poetry all the time, they'd murder him.
We have an orc who dresses himself like a human general in this book. I don't
Yeah,
see
and
how
he
do.
fights all the time and can murder anyone that tries to
Right.
kill him.
But if there was a
Yeah.
human general who wrote poetry, do you think maybe we could have an orc quoting Sun Tzu? Right? Like, it's
No,
the same
because the
stuff.
first thing we talked about with the orcs is the greatest good in an orc's brain is the scrap.
Yeah, and if you can inspire people to have a better scrap, isn't that the point of poetry? To uplift people's hearts to a better form of
Man, if
scrap?
you can find an orc poet somewhere out there in the Warhammer universe, let me know.
I mean, here's the
You've
thing:
read a lot more of it than I have.
we have orc mercenaries who like work with humans
For the scrap.
for money,
And for the scrap. They're not
probably.
like, let me plant some potatoes for you, humans, for the money. Right?
Probably not.
Okay. Let me be a farmhand. Do you need someone to compose you a new song for your son's wedding? Let me get on that. For money.
Okay,
No.
okay. When we're talking about orcs, can we include Gretchen? Can we include the Grots in this? Because
I
Grots,
think
I think Grots might do some poetry.
I know, but both the orcs and the grots consider each other entirely different species, so probably not.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I don't know that Gretchens even count
I,
necessarily as like sentient species. Are Gretchens sentient? It's like,
how do you define sentience?
I don't know.
The capacity of an individual including animals and humans, to experience feelings and have cognitive abilities such as awareness and emotional reactions. That's Grotz through and through.
I'm not talking about Grots. The other ones, the Gretchens.
That's Gretchen's are Grotz.
What? Are they?
Yeah, Gretchen's, Grotz, and Snotlings. Gretchen's are Grotz, Snotlings, and Squigs. Gretchen's, Grotz, and
Oh.
Gretchen's
Okay.
are Grotz. That's the one.
Okay, because I remember in this book they talked about how basically they throw Gretchens ahead of the main orc force,
Mm-hmm.
so the humans have to like waste bullets and like time on them.
Yep, that's Gretchen.
Yeah, so those are
Yep.
Grots.
Yep.
Good grief. Okay, fair enough.
Uh, I mean, look, these people have religion. I assume religion comes with all sorts of forms of worship, even beyond just the scrap, right? The main thing might be the scrap, absolutely the scrap, but that doesn't mean it can't. There can't be a little orc poetry in there.
Then find me stuff. Stop arguing for something you don't know exists.
I know it
Come
exists in
back
my heart.
later.
Look,
Fine.
look. If
Look,
we can have
look,
a
fine.
grot
Warhammer is a
manifesto,
vibe.
if we can have grot manifestos, I don't know why we can't have grot poetry. The special edition
Again,
of this
I'm
book
allowing
came.
for grots. I already said I'm allowing for grots to have higher levels of thought and art. Not orcs, though. Grots. Because grots don't live for the scrap. Orcs do.
There's a subreddit called r/40k orc science. It's just people submitting uh their own orc poetry. What is this? Oi, don't know about your poetry, Scoff, but dare shake the boss pole, the greatest liturgy mind of all Zoggin time. And it's a 4chan link, so it doesn't work. Thanks.
This 4chan is dead. Ah.
Yep.
Uh.
Hickory dickory dock. The git run up the clock. The git got crumped. The git fell down. Hickory dickory dock.
Moving.
Moving. Yep.
Moving.
Okay. Fine.
Fine.
No orc poetry. Breaks my heart.
Right. Back to the story, though. Right. So the war boss is dead. So other big orcs who are leaders of their own clans are like, I can be the war boss of this ginormous
Wah.
group of orcs. Wog. Right?
Yep. No G. Just wah.
So they're about to fight each other, but there's a very specific problem with this where, what does he say? Like the first orc to move has the risk of like looking foolish or screwing it up, so none of them want to be the first one to move initially. You remember this?
Yeah, I do.
They're like Mexican standoffing it.
Right. It feels like a very much of like who attacks first loses kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's a.
So nobody wants to be the first one to move. So then our warp head shows up and he's like, so here's what's gonna go on. Here's a vision. Let me show you. And he's like, there's a gate under that big human hive over there. The first one there gets to be the war boss. Go.
So they all agree. They just go, okay.
They're like, cool. Well, okay.
Part of it is that the old warphead has a lot of sway within the war, and like if this guy says he'll throw his lot in with whichever clan that gets there first, then that's all I need, and I won't have to actually kill these other guys.
Right, that's true. But also, every time especially anytime Snaggletooth talks about a weird boy, he's like, when you're around them, heads explode. Like, they're really dangerous.
Yeah.
So you kind of try, you hope they'll get riled up too much. They hope they don't drink of the warp too deeply while they're around you. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's part of it. They're like just kind of afraid of this big, weird boy they don't fully understand. And if he gives them a path forward, then they'll just take it. Yeah.
Yeah. so they each have a different preference for how they run their clans, and that inevitably leads them to find different ways of getting in to the city or under the city.
Mm-hmm. As it
Um,
may be. Yep.
yeah, we during this we get like several different ways in which they break in. And one of the ways in which they break in is given to us. Actually, two of the ways they break in is given us from human perspective. We've got the prisoner with the general, the captain, Arminius Varro. Oh, you're frozen. Oh, you're back. Um, Arminius Varro, who is like this
Oh, okay.
captor who
Mm-hmm.
believes he's like he can definitely outsmart orcs no matter what anyone says, and like they're keeping him in a cage, but the cage isn't necessary. They give him exercise time to like just walk around and do whatever, because he can't get away. It's fine. He's like a full-on pet. Uh,
Very sad. Yeah.
very sad. But we were also given the tank commanders kind of like sallying out at the very wrong time and being like, okay, we know there's
Yeah.
a door there. Let's get in through that door because there's no tanks behind it. And that's the only real human inclusion that we get. We get a little bit of the governor, who's very committed to a position that she had to kill three other contenders for. Like set up very discreet assassination attempts so she could get this position. She's not about to lose it now.
No, not to 80,000 orcs. Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yep.
Um, I like those bits of the book. I like the human bits because the humans. There's just enough of the humans to be like, oh yeah, going out there with their tanks, that seems like a good idea because they can get up in them real quickly. Orcs not very accurate. It's fine. They've got all these like flamers and stuff. They've got these hellhound tanks. That'll be great. And then it's presented such a like this is what military people do in a war. Military people do military things. Isn't it a great idea? And then it's always bad because humans are awful in 40k and aren't necessarily making good decisions for the right reasons. Um,
No.
like the tanks can't hit anything because they fighting the speed boys who just like drive too fast for the tanks to hit, and
Yep.
then they end up blowing each other up. It's awful.
It's bad. Well, I mean, their motivation to go out there is just like we're itching to shoot stuff.
Well,
Like
they do want
we
to
want to kill some orcs.
they want to kill Smorks. They also fervently believe that going to the fight is the way that you do the military. Like you don't sit
Right.
around and wait for them. That's silly. We've got tanks. We go to them. We do a tank line.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. To the point that they're directly contradicting the commands of their commanding officer.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with the human, the captain, he's like, I need to escape. I need to get in through the tunnels and like find a way to uh, deliver intelligence back to everyone else, and ends up leading the orcs underground. I mean, I'm just gonna skip to the point that he gets back to like some semblance of command, uh, and they immediately execute him for not killing himself.
Yeah. It's like, well, a commissar.
A commissar does,
A
right? But
commissar.
that's he's bound by the commissariat like everyone else.
No, I
Include
know. I know. I'm just saying it's not the command. It's
right,
not just like some random lieutenant.
no,
It's a commissar who
right,
shoots him in the head.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he said it would have been expected of him anyway. Whether like he says that earlier,
Hmm.
but if it was whether that would be expected of him by command, the Imperium ethos in general, or of the commissariat, it's unclear. But we also get an example of a commissar killing like a colonel commander of an entire regiment for cowardice, where he's like, "Oh, he wanted us to like send in a small force and scout. I think that's a great idea." And then I executed him for cowardice, and it's like, "Oh, that was an even more prudent idea." Yes, commissar. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
right. So our guy gets back and he sees the commissar and he's like, I do not want to attract her attention.
no.
Like he's very particularly like, I understand how it's gonna go if I get under her radar and it goes
Uh-huh.
poorly. So good
It
call.
goes poorly.
Yeah.
Whew.
Which is just fun because like reading the Caiaphas Cain books,
Mm. Kane doesn't do a lot
it's
of like scary commissar routine.
no.
No.
right? And again, I'm coming into this stuff with the perspective of someone who doesn't have the perspective of everybody else.
Yeah.
Like with the Heresy, I read the Heresy without the perspective of the larger 40k universe.
Uh
And I
huh.
read Caiaphas Cain without the larger perspective of what a commissar is within 40k.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing this backwards, which is interesting.
You're doing it backwards, but it's also not wrong though. Like,
No,
hey,
it works.
it
It totally
works.
works.
It
Yeah.
makes Warhammer feel more like vibes than anything else, but it works. I swear, it's not all vibes. I mean, I feel like Eisenhorn stuff should be not vibes. It's pretty unvibey, where it's just like, yeah, orcs have fun if they want poetry, they can have poetry. But Eisenhorn's pretty like, listen. um,
True facts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eisenhorn's very on the nose.
Straight up and down. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so they eventually get in there. The old warphead helps Snaggy Littletooth and his Grotwa find the right way, and then when they get there, and there's like the meeting with all the orc bosses who get there pretty much at all the same time, and Snaggy's like, "I was there first. I'm gonna be the orc boss. Lead this war."
It's like the bravest thing in
Mm.
all of Warhammer,
I'm like,
man.
yeah.
His entire existence is just that the orcs will murder him accidentally on a whim for laughs. Who knows? And he's willing to stand up to every single one of them. I was like, oh, I'm so
Two-
proud of you, and you are going to die.
Right, because they all immediately look at him and go, "I thought he was working with you." And he's like, "No, I've never seen him. Kill him if you want, if he's in the way." The Warphead immediately throws him under the bus,
Yeah.
under the battle wagon. Ugh, my heart broke for
Uh,
Snaggy there.
I know, that
I
was
really
tough. But
believe.
that's what you get for trusting a friggin' warp boy. He knew, weird boy. He knew better than that.
Yeah. Anyway, this weird boy has led them to a warp gate into the webway, which he can access because he's got a soul stone on his staff that he's been like tormenting a poor Eldari's soul. He's been like licking it, and it's like, well,
Yep.
as long as I've got me stuff, we can get in there and get anywhere in the galaxy. So this book
But
goes.
also, he needed an alive Eldari to open it later.
Mm, well,
He
they knew
did.
they would come out to defend it, though.
Yeah. Yes. So he assumed they'd come out to defend it, they'd leave it open, they could go through, but then they close it. And to
Mm.
reopen it, he needs to like rustle through an Aldari's mind to open it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Suppose
right?
so. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yep.
But anyway, the threat goes from one little planet dying to an Orc to orcs having webway travel where they could go potentially anywhere
Mm-hmm.
in the galaxy at any time. That's
Pretty bad times.
an awful idea. That's an
Yeah,
awful
and
idea.
but do they get it at the end?
No, I don't think they do. That's the
It's
thing.
really up in the air.
The end wraps up very quickly. Like
Yeah.
it's almost a Dan Abnett book. Um, and I couldn't tell you if they got in or not. I don't think they do.
So they kick Snaggletooth through.
Yeah, okay, he goes through. Yeah, some of them go
Yeah.
through.
And he ends up somehow with another orc warband who immediately are like, oh, it's a grot, cool, and they enslave him again.
Right.
Which is like, yeah.
Yeah. What were you
Makes sense.
expecting?
Yeah. So yeah, he's somewhere. He's somewhere where there's snow as far as the eye can see. He gets captured by other orcs. He's trying to make the best of it. He still wants to be the leader of the WOG.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just biding his time. So he went somewhere.
Somewhere.
So, like, he didn't bounce off, right? They talk about that. He didn't bounce off the web gate. He didn't disintegrate when he hit the webway. He went through. So what I assume that to mean is they checked it, it works, and they're gonna go.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that is precisely what's about to happen. Like, do they get in this book? Technically, no, which is why I don't remember it. But they're about to. It's about to happen in between books. And, like,
Yeah.
we'll get a sequel where they're just at somewhere else now. because they've gone through the webway.
not have a sequel yet?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay,
I mean, this book's pretty new. It only came out 3 years ago. Um,
right. Because that's what I'm wondering. Because it really seems like a massive world build upheaval. If you're like, the orcs kind of contained to different localities and they can move around with ships and stuff, but we kind of can keep an eye on them and where they are and things like
no,
that. And then
not true.
you can't, not even
No,
close.
I mean,
So what
you
does
can.
this do? If they can pop up anywhere, then what's the webway give them?
It gives these orcs access to anywhere in the galaxy.
Okay, so it doesn't change anything
No,
then.
no, all of 40k, right, when it's not being vibes, is this is huge, this is groundbreaking, this is a big deal to the people right here. The books are not supposed to fundamentally change like the state of like how the Imperium functions and like all of its enemies at the
Bringing
gate.
friggin' Rabute Gilliman back certainly changed some things.
It changed stuff, but it kept it at a
Yeah,
status quo, right? The Imperium got cut in half when it did
yeah.
that, and it's like much of the book, much of Gulliman being back is him struggling to save an empire that will hate him if he tries to make it how it was, right? Because he remembers when it was um, secular, and it's like, well, if I tell these people the truth, they'll hate me, right? He
Yeah,
came
but
back, but he
you
still has
don't.
to walk the imperial line, and that's what happens in all the books, right?
Sure. I mean, we're going way off track here, but
That's fine. It's Warhammer.
does he have to cast out the ecclesiastry in order to do what he wants to do?
If he wanted to institute the Imperium as it was when he founded it with the Great Crusade, he'd have to, yeah.
Yeah, but
If he wanted to revive the Emperor's dream as much as possible, he would have to get rid of all the religion.
why?
Because the Emperor decreed he's not a god and that there
No, no,
should
no,
be no
no, no,
religion.
no, 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 no.
That's part of the Emperor's functionally.
Functionally, why?
Functionally, why? Probably because he doesn't like it. Like, I mean, if I can't go from if I can't say the boss of the Imperium says so, and that doesn't count as a why you should do something, then the guy in charge is this. He's utterly disgusted by all of the churchy stuff, and it's like you guys are fanatics who waste resources, cause infighting, blah 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 blah. Absolutely no virtues to it, right?
Yeah,
Truthfully or not, right?
right.
Then that would be why he would do it.
Hmm. I mean, the other reasons would be we don't have the legions anymore. Also, Tyranids are around now. Those guys are new. The Necrons are waking up,
Yeah,
and the effect of the warp is as strong as it's ever been.
right, but that doesn't mean you need the church.
No, I'm just saying the other reasons why he wouldn't be able to reestablish the old Imperium is all those reasons.
Sure, but I mean,
He couldn't. Could he reestablish the legions? There's no way.
no.
He
So
can't make new Primarchs, right?
no. Well,
Yeah.
he probably couldn't. He
Yeah.
might be able to. Cole might be able to.
Hmm.
So Gulliman is bound by his own laws that he made. So when he split the legions after the siege, right, he splits them into chapters. And he
Yeah.
comes back and calls like, "Hey, I have all these Primar Space Marines. I have hundreds of thousands." People on Terra, like the High Lords, accused him of rebuilding legions, and they all looked at that and said, "What if he wants control?" Right? Like, what if he wants to just enforce control like a great crusader that he was? That's a
Yep.
problem. And
Yes, it
so
is.
he is bound by his own laws, and he recognizes that he can't keep all of these. They're called the unnumbered sons. It's all the Primaris Marines that don't get chapters yet. And what he does is he goes on another crusade, the Indomitus Crusade, and he goes, "Okay, here's a new chapter. They're all Primaris Marines. Here's an old chapter. You guys are at half strength. Have 500 new Primaris Marines," and he bolsters them. And he slowly whittles away his giant Great Legion until he doesn't have a legion anymore. That's his compromise. It's like, I need the legion because the Imperium is literally about to fall apart if I don't have an army capable of stopping other legions. Because that's what he's fighting.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting Chaos Legions.
Mm-hmm. But he
But
can't have it
but he
because
can't.
the people he's protecting don't trust him to have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why he can't do it.
Right.
much more
So there
than
are a lot of reasons other than the religion.
right, but the religion is one of the things it's a bullet point. It's one of the things he'd have to tackle.
Yeah, but the
It might
larger issue is he doesn't have a legion.
would he his one of the books he contemplates installing Cole as like the Archmagos of the Mechanicus, and I
Okay.
think he contemplates something about the ecclesiarchy, and it's like he weighs whether or not they could get away with doing a civil war to get rid of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
he's weighed that, and if he thought he could, he would, right? Like Gulliman is not a nice guy. He's very cold when it comes to stuff like that, and
Yeah.
if he gains any ground anywhere, he might revisit that calculation.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it's not the a number one problem in his way.
no, but it might be at some point.
Right.
It
Right.
could be.
Yes.
He might try to
Could
do it
be.
on a smaller scale. Be like, hey, let's see if we can subtly alter the power of the church in these systems. You know, maybe reinforcements get there a little bit late. Maybe they don't show up at all until like the church is weakened and that civil war doesn't take as long. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
don't think
know.
it'll
It's just a
happen because
large.
it's one of those things that would fundamentally change how Warhammer works. You can't write the ecclesiarchy out of 40k. It's not going to happen.
No, you can't. But I think the heresy did a good job of establishing that humanity,
Needs
most
faith.
humans need to believe in something.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
So even if you got rid of the churches and the chaplains and the
mhm.
structure of it, you'd still have people wanting to worship the emperor. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think you can fix that.
I it possibly not. That might be it might be a failing of Gulliman to believe that he can, that the
Mm-hmm.
Imperium's original vision of a secular galaxy is just fundamentally flawed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
possible. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
Ooh.
Warboss.
Yeah.
That's
So that's Warboss.
two thumbs up. I really liked it. Two thumbs up.
Me too. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Should we pick the next book we're gonna read?
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. So let me just hide some stuff real quick
Okay.
because I did not fix our webcams for the wheel. So we have the wheel. What I've done is I've added to the wheel. I've also added some photos of all the book covers.
Oh,
Um,
look at that.
there are a lot more things, and what I've done is I've listed them by their faction. So there's a lot of IG, that's Imperial Guard, SOB, Sisters of Battle, Leagues of Votan, Tau, Chaos Space Marines, Necrons, Warhammer Crime, Inquisition, Orcs, Drukhari, Space Marines. Right, there's a ton there. And what I've done
Mm.
is every time we roll, I will weight every other faction a little bit heavier. So we have two more orc books. They're slightly skinnier wedges than everything else,
Okay. Smart.
so that we're less likely to get them. But we will do these as a series. So if we get a book that is 6 books long, we won't come back to the wheel for a little while.
Is Lion Son of the Forest Lionel Johnson coming back?
That is Lion coming back. Yep,
Okay.
that's a book I think we should definitely read at some point.
I'm making guesses based on titles.
Fair enough. All right,
Go
let's
ahead.
spin the wheel. What do we get? Come on, Night Lords.
Oh gosh.
Necrons!
Necrons, we're back. We're back with Necrons.
Necrons. Alright, so done. What is the first book in the Necron series? I believe it is called The Twice Dead King.
I think that's what it said.
That is what it said.
What year is this book?
I will look it up. The
Okay.
first book is Ruin, I believe. And it came out in 2021.
Ah, so not at the library then.
No, probably not. And this is a 2-part series, so we will not see the wheel for a couple weeks, people.
Okay.
If you can buy both books in an omnibus, you should check, but I don't think you can.
Too new, probably.
Two new, and I think there's also maybe rumors of a third, and there'll be an omnibus if the third one comes out at some point. But
Right.
it'll be years after that, and it'll be years until that comes. So let's just. Yep. So the Twice Dead King by Nate Crowley. I love these books. This
Okay.
is the series where there are Necrons trying to get off a planet that's being invaded by humans, and they're like, "Oh, how can we trick the humans letting our ships pass? Leak random green fluid, and they'll think we're crashing, and they'll want to harvest this. Like the tech priest will want to like come and investigate, so they'll pull us past, and then they like hook giant chains on the Necron ships and start pulling them, and the Necrons cringe because like, oh my god, they're savages. They're doing this with chains instead of like space magic technology. They're doing it with physical chains. It's disgusting. It's great. Love this book. Well, these two books. I don't remember which one happens in, but it's great.
That is great. Okay, done. Purchased.
Excellent. Alrighty.
Come on, Kindle app. You can do it.
Uh,
We'll get there.
we'll get there.
All right, good enough. Good enough. Time to wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Put a bow on it.
Good. All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour with Somicron, cast live and streamed live here at twitch.tv/Somicron. What is up, Bovine? Thanks for showing up. And if you want to be cool like Bovine, show up for the live stuff, or if you want to see the VODs, youtube.com/@Somicron. Also, the VODs are here on the twitch.tv Somicron site for a while, then they were going to go away. And also, if you want to support the pod, you can buy merch at falconpaladin.store, or you can go to patreon.com/Somicron and pledge there. So again, thanks for being here. Be back in a week unless something weird happens, like one of us gets really sick or something.
Oh,
And
what are the odds of that?
I mean, cesspool of disease schools. Yeah, we'll be back then. So until then, stay safe and healthy, and y'all take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye.